برا الحزن البغض والزوارة، برا الحزن ما بقى امان، برا العطش والناس منحوسين.
Welcome airsofters and airsoft enthusiasts to Coffee with a Ghost. I'm Ghost, your friendly neighborhood airsoft spectrum, here to bring you all the latest news and events that are happening in the airsoft world, plus some great interviews and talking to all the people in the industry that we can get a hold of what's going on around the world of airsoft. So this is episode 2. It has been a great week since we've done episode 1. I love the response. Thank you guys out there that watched it and liked it and shared it. So much for your support. If you're new to the show, this is only episode 2. That's right, only episode 2. So we're going to kick it right off here. If you could like and share at the bottom, tell your friends what's going on. If they're playing airsoft, if they want to get into airsoft, please share our page. That's how we get around here so we can keep doing this kind of stuff at the Haunted Mansion. This week, it's been a whirlwind on things that are going on in the airsoft community. I got a flood of events that are happening around the country. We're going to get into that in a second, and upcoming events and news. We got a lot of great comments on the Ghost Rifle that we worked on last week. That was so much fun to get a big shout out to Cutter at Cutter Airsoft for taking us in and showing us around his shop and letting us do that. But let's get right into it. Like I said, there's just so much going on right now. Let's get into the upcoming news that's going to be happening through the rest of this month and towards the month of August. Shadow Ghost here, coming straight from the Haunted Mansion, with your upcoming news in the world of airsoft and events. On August 2nd and 4th, Otherworld Productions will be hosting the event Night Sky. That's Night with a K, folks. Day 8 in New Milford, Pennsylvania. New Milford, Pennsylvania on August 2nd and 4th. August 4th and 5th, Mer Tactical will be hosting the event Pandora's Box in Newport, Indiana. Again, that date is August 4th and 5th, Pandora's Box. Alright, August 31st through September 1st, American Milsims is hosting the event Copperhead IX. IX as in the Roman numerals. I as in I and an X. In Playas, New Mexico. Shadowlands will be happening the 28th in Charleston, South Carolina. What's that? Breaking news? What do you mean, breaking news? Hold on one second, folks. This just into the Haunted Mansion from an undisclosed source. Shadowlands teams, The Last Hope is almost sold out of tickets. Alright folks, let me just break out here and really explain this to you. I'm sure you guys are starting to hear about Shadowlands all over there. I know I've talked about it. I know buddies of mine have talked about it. It's starting to get a pretty big event. And there's some good reasons why this is becoming such a cool-sided event. I'm not putting down any other events I've listed. They all sound great. But I, from a secret source, have started getting a little bit more information my way about Shadowlands, so that gives me the ability to talk to you a little bit more about it. So, for you that haven't gone out, you haven't checked it out, or somehow you've been hiding under a rock and you have not caught the YouTube preview that Team Shadow Airsoft has released for Shadowlands. Well, I'm going to sit right here. We're going to put that in there. And I'm going to sit right here and wait for you to watch that for like at least the first 15 seconds, 20 seconds we'll put in there. And I expect you to go out there and find it after this. We'll put a link in the page for you to find it. But I'm just going to sit here and wait. I'll wait. I'll be right here when you get back.
War devastated the land we live on.
See, I told you, wait, I was right here. Yep, it was worth it, wasn't it? You know it was worth it. I mean, that is just an awesome preview to a game. So let me break this down for you, Airsoft War. You got 3 teams coming out here, and you've got the Forgotten, you got the Shroud, and you got the Last Hope. And as of right now, what my secret source is telling me, and I'm sharing with you guys, I'm not going to say here my sources, I'm going to share with you guys what I'm hearing right now. The Last Hope is almost sold out as of right now. See, because this is how it's going to break down. You can have 30 people per team. Now, remember, I listed 3 teams: the Forgotten, the Shroud, the Last Hope. Now, for you at home that are trying to figure this out and going, I can't do that kind of math right now. That's why I'm on YouTube. Well, it's 90 people in total. That's it. Once 90 tickets are sold, they're gone. It means your chance to play with a ghost might have to wait. Now, I'm going to be open with you guys, and I'm going to tell you, I'm on the Last Hope. That's the team that I'm on. I'm rocking tan for this game. That's right. I am on the Last Hope survival team out there right now. But again, it's almost sold out. And periodically, you're going to hear about some more members of Team Shadow Airsoft that are coming out to this event. All I'm going to say is Team Shadow Airsoft is going to be showing out strong at Shadowlands come September 28th. If you've ever wanted to talk to us, you want to talk to some of the guys and see where their tech knowledge is at, or what favorite rifles they want to play with, or you might want to come by and see if maybe one of us has got a patch for you. I'm saying, that's where you got to be. You got to be in Charleston, South Carolina, September 28th. And it's even more when you got tickets and you can play. It's just so much more fun. I mean, and a little bit more information. Yeah, that's right. I'm not done yet. Oh, my source did not go away from that. No, Team Shadow. They came out and they said, you know what, we're going to do something even more fun for this. We're going to do something even more enticing, even though when you can go to the page and check it out and you look at these games, everything from assassin missions to VIP protection to bomb squad defusal and bomb squads blowing up. Again, Airsoft, for all those people out there watching, this isn't Airsoft event. Pew pews, not real. But Team Shadow Airsoft is like, you know what? We're going to make it even better. We're going to give away some mystery boxes. That is right. They're all showing up. Yes, I love my team. I'm not saying I might not be a little biased, Team Shadow Airsoft, but I'm not the guy that makes these kind of decisions. I'm just a lonely team member. They're going to be showing up and giving away mystery boxes. You ready for this? From $50 all the way up to, or maybe more than $300 values in these mystery boxes. I mean, so you get to show up. You get to play with some of your favorite, Airsoft influencer YouTubers, whatever you want to call us. You get to shoot lots of cool pew-pews and hang out in Charleston, South Carolina, and possibly win some more cool stuff with it, upwards to possibly $300. We're talking rifles, we're talking gear, we're talking patches. Who knows what Team Shadow's going to throw in this mystery box? I have no clue what they're throwing in. My source went and knew it. I tried. That's when they got a little cold lift on the ghost. That's okay. They know who's going to get haunted. And then I got a little bit more here. Apparently Airsoft Charleston's like, you know what? We're not going to be outdone. We're going to do some giveaways too. So now you've got 2 different sides of giveaways coming to you after already so much for an event. I mean, come on, Shadowlands. It's just calling. And then you're going to have some direct distributors out there, KWA, ASG, Titan, and maybe even more. So if you have not gotten your tickets, I'm telling you, if you can get out there at the end of September, September 28th to Charleston, it is so going to be worth it. Get your tickets now, though. That is a big thing. Get those tickets before they're sold out. And, if you're out there, please stop by and say hi to your local ghost. So that is your upcoming news. All right, folks. Now, moving right along with the show today, I also mentioned earlier that we have a guest. I've got my first interview on Coffee with a Ghost. First person to pop up and have some coffee. And by the way, it got brought up last time. Did I have coffee with coffee when I get this day? Because I was a little nervous and show off my coffee. I do this time. I have my coffee right here, folks. But I want to talk about my first guest on here. He's an airsoft influencer. He's an airsoft player. He's also a veteran. He also does gaming videos online. He's like, all around the book of it. I like to call him a good friend, another member of Team Shadow Airsoft. I'm very lucky and thankful he's here today. Let me welcome Squirrely Nuts to Coffee with a Ghost. All right, Squirrely brother, welcome to Coffee with a Ghost. Thank you so much for showing up with us today. We appreciate it.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem. Thanks for having me. Of course, anytime. If you ever need me to be on, I'm here.
Much appreciated, much appreciated. How are things with you right now?
Standard life. Hot. Man, it's hot.
Man, I mean, we'll get into where you're at in a second, but me down here in the southeast, we actually had like a 77% humidity today. It's just, it's roasting. It is roasting. So, do you have a cup of coffee before we go any further? I see it's right there. There we go. What are you drinking today?
I am drinking Death Wish. What is it? Hazelnut chocolate roast,
Yummy.
something like that. It's delicious. I have it with a bit of sugar and some almond milk. How I usually take it.
So I want to start like every show with a guest on there. I don't know about you, man, but like in my experiences in my life, between military or security contracting or now airsoft, the best conversations have always been over a cup of brew. And that's why it's funny.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think because we both share military service, you can definitely agree that best cup of coffee honestly comes off the back of a gut truck.
Oh God, I'll never forget those, especially on the cold, wet days, and you come walking up there, and it's like, oh, dude, I don't care that my canteen metal cup holder is the most dirty thing in the world. Just please pour that inside there.
Yep.
Definitely.
Here's my $2. Just give me some of that coffee.
All day long. I agree. Totally. That's why you brought it up. So one reason I wanted you as one of my first guests on the show was, you actually are a veteran. I know a lot of people might not know about that. They see your persona on here about airsoft and gaming and doing all that really cool stuff now. But at one time, Squirrely was a soldier. Would you talk a little bit about your time in the service?
Yeah, not a problem. And I have mentioned on my own channel before that I was in the service. I was in Army. I only did 2 years. I got an honorable discharge and got kicked out for missing my run by 22 seconds.
Gotcha. Hey, those PT runs they're harder than people think, man.
Yeah, and I've always been a larger guy, so running has never been my strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
But I served in Fort Hood. I was part of the first Cav. I was Air Cav, so I was an aviation refuel. I was a 92 Fox.
Okay.
So I refueled helicopters, man.
Awesome.
I was also the 249 gunner of my squad and platoon, essentially.
Oh, got you, dude. That support machine gun is everything out there on that, especially in squad movements. And one thing I like about airsoft, my experience was it was a great transfer over to, from the military to here because we went from being so serious all the time to having fun again. What was your time transferring into airsoft?
It was different. I think everybody who had experience or time in service all approaches it different based on their experiences, deployments, and everything like that. But for me, it was, and a friend of mine agreed with me on this. It was there were some things that you didn't need, but you just resorted back to. So there was a small adjustment period where it was like, oh, yep, going through, doing your usual thing, clearing corners and all that jazz. And you kind of come around the corner with the thought of barrel punching somebody, and you're like, no, I don't need
Oh
that.
yeah, definitely. There's that have to chill
Like
back a little bit feel for a second, you know.
it took me a couple games to like curb some of the old school habits that like came with the rust that I was knocking off, on just diving back into that skill set. Um, but it was just like stuff like that where you think in like the real world scenario of just like, oh no, if somebody's around this corner, I mean,
Hmm.
uh, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think every service member could account for that when it comes to airsoft, just because you're in real world scenario, it's a whole different experience.
Oh, definitely agree. I mean, I remember one of my first times going out with Cutter. We both know him from Cutter Airsoft. And, we're out there and we're moving forward. And I'm looking over at Cutter and I'm trying to give hand signals. Something that in
Oh,
our world would
yep,
just be instant. We would know I'm trying to tell him to take cover and put suppressive fire down so I can move forward. And there's Cutter.
yep.
I love him to death. He's a Navy veteran himself, a different world than we are. And he's looking at me with this
Yep.
puzzled look like, and he just screams at me, "What do you want to do?" And I'm sitting back like, oh, bro, but I think in a way for me, that kind of was part of I think, draw to it was to all of a
Hmm.
sudden relax and realize like, whoa, wait a minute, we're having fun again. This is like
Yep.
being kids again when before we got pushed to a certain level of expectation,
Hmm.
it's okay to make a mistake here. It's cool. The
Yeah.
guys you're playing with are going to be right there to help you. They're going to show you what's up. And I think that was a big thing for me was a lot of, friendship out there started forming really quickly in this crazy community. So, I
Hmm.
mean, that's really cool to hear how, as somebody else actually dealt with that. Okay, I got to slow down. I got to calm down and not be so aggressive as maybe I would be if I was running back at Fort Hood in the kill house. We're not
Yep.
doing that anymore.
Yep.
So,
And like I said, my friend who's been and I think you've talked to him a couple of times in voice chat. My friend, the Trippy
I'll pull
Hippie.
that off. I'm getting warm.
Um, oh yeah, yeah, it gets toasty. But my friend, the Trippy Hippie, when I took him out to Sheboygan, he himself was in the 82nd as a combat medic, and he after a first couple goes of going into the asylum, he came out and we took a break. He's like, dude, there's so much stuff I don't need to do. I was like, yeah, yeah. Best way to put it is think of it as Call of Duty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely and it's funny. I don't mind video games. I get into them, but some of them, I mean, it's kind of a different community in video games in a lot of ways. You know this. You play games on your
Oh yeah,
page.
yep.
You're out there doing it. And to me, the airsoft community was a lot more almost like, yeah, get in here and share what you know.
Mhm.
Like we want to know what you know, and we want to hang out. And it was a little bit different for me in the gaming community. I tried to get more into that. I just couldn't. It
Yep.
was funny. You had mentioned earlier, talking about Sheboygan, and that was something
Yes.
I had to bring up, man. Uh,
Oh no, you're good.
Sheboygan, I keep hearing about it. I heard it was epic. I mean, you guys got to play in an asylum. Tell me more about this. How was it, brother?
It was intense. Like I haven't gone to many uh mill sims because I'm still pretty fresh myself into getting into the deep dive of airsoft like this from being new old stock. But Sheboygan, that was intense. It was 150 on 150.
That's a lot of players
Inside.
right there.
Yeah. And it is, you would think you would know the layout, right?
Hmm.
It is a hospital, mind you.
Yeah.
So we'd be in one hallway and be like, okay, cool, there's over here, we're here. Let's go down one floor, scoot over, come up the staircase behind them and flank, right?
Hmm.
Every time we'd go down the hallway, hit the stairs and hit the floor below and think we go the right direction. No, we end up on the other side of the building.
Mm. So the
Like it was
asylum's
like
literally driving the players crazy in its own way, just because of the way they set it
exactly.
up.
it's in this weird X star pattern layout, but it's just every time you went down a stairwell and thought you went the right way down a hallway to get up behind somebody, it just never worked. Every once in a while we would get lucky, but it would be like, oh no, that's their spawn. Okay.
Oh, that's
there,
awesome. I mean, talk about urban gameplay right there. I mean, I think that's
yeah,
the best way to simulate it is you're not going to really know in a situation all the time what you think a map should look like in an urban environment. It's going to change up, and that's a place that they made to kind of confuse their own people inside of there. So it's definitely going to affect you guys. So,
oh yeah, oh yeah.
the question is, did it get that spooky feel while you were going through there? Because that place has got some
Now,
history.
I did mention if I believe you've seen the gameplay video as
Yeah.
well from my Sheboygan runs, and if anybody else hasn't, I mentioned in one of the last parts on day 2 that I was in a morgue cooler,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I was trying to get into the underground tunnel, just because that was where a lot of firefights were going on, and I just I wanted to get footage of just like, let's go into the dark.
Gotcha. No, I'll be honest.
And
I've watched it. It's one reason I brought it up was I wanted to know what
yeah,
it felt like to be in that more cooler. And for people watching that don't understand why I'm trying to push this point, when we say asylum, this is a game that was being held in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, correct?
yeah, it was the Sheboygan County Asylum.
Yes.
Um, in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and that's the same asylum if you're into the paranormal world that has been on Ghost Adventures, Ghost
Mhm.
Hunters, like it's been all over TV, it's been plastered all over the place. Everybody knows about it as a huge haunted location, and I myself am a former like kind of dabbly paranormal investigator. And I've been wanting to go here for years. So you asking about this, I'd tell you all day.
Yeah, and being, the friendly airsoft ghost, I was like, if there's ever going to be a spot in this game when he's playing that he's going to feel something, it's going to be somewhere near that morgue. Because when I went and, did my homework and I looked up
Mhm.
this asylum, I mean, the list of registered patients alone that passed is quite
Yeah.
extensive. And then you read reports of, people that might have died that the numbers don't might not have added up because of like mass things that happened with outbreaks of infections and diseases inside this place. And then
And
there's a whole section on the criminally insane section of
mhm.
the hospital itself. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's talking about the morgue, but he didn't get a lot into it. What was it like being in that morgue?
Okay. Now, as you were saying that patient list was extensive, but also this place was at one point a TB ward. Um, so being in that morgue cooler, when I initially got in it, there was somebody else in there. He was holding position, and I came in, and then he moved on after I went in there, and then I held position and ended up getting hit through the crack of the door. And this is where, as soon as that dude left, that's when it just got uncomfortable because there's nothing in there. There's literally nothing in there. It's the door in, the door out, and then a door to another extension of like the cooler. Like if I would have opened that other door, it would have just been more morgue cooler.
Okay.
Um, but I there was no way I was by myself. Like it was the overwhelming urge of I was being stared at.
Wow. Okay.
Like it was I was there by myself and it was dark on the other side of it, but it was just like I'm not alone. Somebody's like multiple people are looking at me. Like
Hmm.
it was uncomfortable. You just felt the presence of a ton of other people. At least I did. It
Wow.
just really just got under your skin. And now I've been in haunted houses before. I've been in haunted locations multiple times. I've caught evidence. I've gone through the gamut of experiences. That was a level of uncomfortable that I haven't felt yet.
Wow. Okay. I mean, and honestly, I would see it out of again, the back history of this place is so interesting. I mean, we could literally probably do a whole episode of just talking about the back history of Sheboygan right there.
Oh,
And that's not even my expertise at all, in this whole thing, but it's one part of airsoft I'm starting to really love is it seems like a lot of these areas, we're hearing of a game in New Orleans that happened at the abandoned Six Flags. We're
yep.
hearing now with Sheboygan and even here down in Florida towards Miami, we're hearing of closed down factories that games are getting played in. And I think it's such a great way to keep, the urban stuff that would just be decaying and breaking down anyway and keeping something going. But all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is all cool. And then somebody goes, yeah, did you hear they're having a game in an asylum? I'm like, whoa, wait. What do you mean? I'm like, that's wow. And we were trying, out here in our area to try to figure out a way, but it was such a distance to get out to Wisconsin at that time of year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it was crazy. But thank you for sharing that. I mean, that was definitely something
Oh, yeah.
I question because, we're playing in some different and interesting environments, and
And
people get different stories I've heard come up and talk to me about, hey man, did you hear about this? We were doing a game over here at this battlefield and this happened. And it's like, oh, it doesn't surprise me, of something residual that could be maybe there. So, that's definitely,
oh, yeah.
definitely interesting. All right. So
I
let's go.
just yeah, I was just gonna add on to that. It's just I wish they would let us do like walkthroughs outside of game.
That would be cool. Yes, that would be
Would be
cool.
nice.
Okay, game people out there, and the creators, you guys know who you are. You
Mhm.
guys go floating around
Mhm.
the YouTube world, listen up. It would be kind of cool, especially if you got events that are going multi days and you're not going to do a night thing. Be kind of cool if we could have a flashlight tour. That would be
Yeah.
kind of neat, something of that nature. I've actually thought about stuff like that at some of the courses too that are more urban environments, like we're talking about historical, possibly environments that things are going on at. It's like, do a little bit of stuff outside of just the game. Think of
Yes.
other activities for the players and make it almost like an airsoft festival, something. y-
That.
I think you could draw so many more people in that way.
Turn on the electric meter.
So another question I have to ask, it's the general question is I'm going to have to throw it at everybody, but currently right now, what is your favorite rifle to play with? Because I know you've got that
Ooh.
arsenal. I've seen, for the people out here who don't know, go back and check out Squirrely's page. It is awesome. We will put a link to
I
his page in here. He's got a great arsenal, but I'm curious, what is it right now if you're going to step in a game you're going for first?
I it sucks because it's broken. Um
Oh, I'm sorry. Ouch.
my go-to Tiny Tina reliable rifle.
Okay.
It's my Lancer Tactical Gen 2 Archon Pro Line series. Full
Ooh,
metal upper and
that's
lower. Um and for those of you who don't know or don't follow the channel, I've completely gutted the inside. It has got a 16-to-1 gear set with a 35K G&G Titan motor. Also with a Nebula Arms Zion MOSFET Zion Arms Nebula MOSFET and Unicorn inner barrel and bucking. Yeah, real deal airsoft piston compression set, uh, max hop up. Like it's tricked out. Fires 30 rounds a second on full auto.
ooh, okay. So the squirrel's hunting
And
nuts. Got you.
yeah. But unfortunately, ever since I got it rebuilt, I've kind of had off and on issues. And the last game day I went out, it keeps locking up in semi, and I've kind of run the circles of techs, and everybody's saying tappet plate issue, so I have to gut Tina again and put the old tappet plate back in.
I don't know if it's the same for you, but sometimes I get to such a level with the teching. I mentioned this in the episode before this. I'm not a tech guy. I love playing. I'm all down for teaching people how to cut the pie, how to do squad movements. I'm out there more than happy to give that knowledge and information, but teching's not my thing. But sometimes when it comes to a certain point in teching and you have to go see the tech guys, I feel like, I'm back in, 300 and I'm climbing the cliffs to go see the oracles. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
can you help me go to battle? please, I need help here. And I love the tech guys, but sometimes the response coming back, no, you're inadequate.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
I
man,
agree.
yeah. So,
I but teching my own stuff, I think, and learning how to tech your own stuff, even on the most bare bones basic levels, I think is just a good skill set to have.
oh yeah. I'm trying my best to learn. I got a few guys that have stepped in, and major shout out to Team Shadow Airsoft and Discord and them hooking me up because I sometimes I don't know where I would be. Everybody's like, "Oh, you know how to shoot." Knowing how to shoot and knowing how to open up a gearbox and change the hop up rate on an airsoft rifle is a completely different world. It is. I mean, and people are like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I can run all day with a real pew pew." But when you hit me in airsoft and tell me it's not working, it's like, well, let me introduce you to this guy. It's a lot of times
Yeah.
how I deal with that, but I'm definitely trying to learn and getting into that world of it. I think it's definitely with the customization. It's something that kind of even, we talked about military earlier. I mean, not to report back
Mhm.
to it, but always kind of drove me nuts is we had these weapons and we could never customize past a point of what we were instructed. And now
Yep.
being in the airsoft pew pew world, we can go so crazy with it. Don't know if you see
Mhm.
my recent video where I did the ghost rifle and it can
Yep.
glow in the dark. And people are like, dude, you want to glow in the dark? Yeah, I want you to see the ghost that's hunting you. And they looked at me like, never thought about that. I'm like, unfortunately for me, I've had a lot of time to think about that. I'm sitting there looking at this going,
Mhm.
I could make it look so much better. And I
Yeah,
think you
and
have to learn teching to get to that.
yeah, and be it be it for just like swapping out a barrel or a hop up, but is also you know you're off in Florida. You actually have an abundance of airsoft places that you can go to.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I I am in the land of corn in
Mhm.
Iowa where I don't. So me learning teching is kind of essential.
Definitely, I could see that. And I mean, you brought it up. I got to ask, what's it like being an airsoft player and influencer out there in the Midwest? Because I've heard there's some pretty good courses, but I've heard they're kind of spread out. Unlike here in Florida, we've got a lot of indoor courses that are popping up. We've got properties that are spreading out. Even farmers seem to be getting the proper permits and changing their zoning to be able to have courses. What's it like for you guys out there in the Midwest?
For some strange reason, where I'm at specifically in Iowa, it's antiquated to a point where I have two airsoft fields that I know of that regularly advertise game days.
Okay.
They're the one that I go to and frequent, which most people see on my channel, is Central City Airsoft. That's 2.5 hours away.
Ooh,
Uh,
that's a drive.
the other, yep, the other field is 2 hours away, but it is a smaller field that's primarily for paintball. But it's a split field design, so there's just two courses on it essentially. Um, we actually did have an airsoft event that would happen in Iowa that is no longer going to happen. It just
Oh
got
no.
announced. Um, Last year, I went to Burlington, Iowa, and played in the Apollo High School. It was an abandoned high school,
Okay, awesome.
and they were going to go back this year, and they had it all lined up. People bought tickets, and they just announced it a couple days ago. The building has been declared condemned. It will no
See,
longer be hosting events.
that's the hard part. Like we were talking about earlier, when you're using urban
Mhm.
environments, they can only without somebody going in and helping keep these places up so they can still be continued and used. Eventually, they're going to get to an unsafe point for players, and that's got to be
Mhm.
number one concern for anybody is the safety of everybody out there.
Yep, yep. And outside of that, like we don't have an airsoft store
Mm.
like anywhere in the state. It's just we have to rely on the field stores or Discord groups. Otherwise, I have to drive to Minnesota. Minimum of 3.15 to 3.5 hours to hit an airsoft store.
I mean,
Um,
you hear it
as well as
now.
another field.
You hear it now on here, guys. I mean, if you are an investor and you just happen to be scanning the page, apparently Iowa is a place to invest in airsoft. I mean, apparently they need a good field out there. It's holding events and a good store. I mean, that
Mhm.
I mean, kudos to you for sticking through. That is some dedication to the sport to be making those kind of drives. That's I love
Yeah.
the sport, but that would be hard to do. Well, you're always welcome out here in Florida. We
Mhm.
would anytime to show you around some of the cool courses that we have out here right now. I mean, we got some pretty neat stuff happening out there at Black Tiger, planes being dropped in recently, so you can play around helicopters and fuselages and Connexes, and CIA is gone, completely indoors with
Yeah.
blacklight games. So,
That's awesome. And that's a big part of like where my channel takes a lot of my bigger stuff is about traveling and going to larger
yeah,
events. Because I mean, yeah, I can say for myself, the footage coming up from Central City is already starting to get kind of dry because it's the same field over and over and
that's
over.
hard. It is hard to do that. And I've had people,
Mhm.
they're like, when are you going to get game footage? I'm like, well, setting up for game footage, let alone traveling for it, can be kind of an interesting experience. And they're like, what? I'm like, you got to give it a little time so you know you're doing it right. And then when you do it, you got to keep moving to new events to get great new content, it feels like. But you are definitely a person that travels. I mean, I've gone back and
Mhm.
watched your videos. Again, anybody watching, please go check out his channel. You will see some great matches that go back.
Yep.
Speaking of that, though, we'd be amiss if we didn't talk about an upcoming event. And now I'm hearing
Oh,
some things coming out
oh,
myself. I've already announced myself that I will be there. We know
oh,
Shadow Dragon from TSA. He's gonna be there.
yeah.
I'm hearing rumors, Squirrely. Are you going to be at Shadowlands come September in South Carolina? I mean, are you going to Charleston?
Oh, well. I have my ticket,
Ah,
so yeah, I'm gonna be there.
awesome, 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 awesome.
um, and you obviously know, and you shouted me out in your last video. I am also a part of Team Shadow Airsoft,
Yes,
but I have to add you a little addendum from your last video. You are on two airsoft teams
that's
because you're
true.
technically part of Squirrel Team 6.
See, I just didn't want to jump out and throw myself out there because some of the members in Squirrel Team 6 are kind of secret squirrels. So,
Well, and I myself haven't, and I've been meaning to, but I haven't really like set out some dead set stuff for Squirrel Team 6, but I treat it more like because Squirrel Team 6 is essentially almost member for member Team Shadow Airsoft.
it is
Um
very interesting, yes.
but for me, I'm taking it more of like the mercenary team approach. It's from
Gotcha.
the people we call on from all over and we get together. So that's why I don't have like a set camo. That's why I don't have
Yeah,
set team colors, except for try to stick to greens. But
yeah. And yeah, I wasn't gonna, throw out, anybody from TSA that's coming. I've kind of kept it on the down
Mhm.
low. Some members on the team are out here like me, like you, Cutter,
Yep.
Shadow Dragon. They have pages out there. Some of them are a little bit more recluse, but I will tell you guys that are watching, the teams are getting pretty stacked, as I mentioned earlier in this video before we got with the interview. Teams are starting to cut up here, and you're going to start hearing more and more people that are announcing that they're going. But I can't wait to be there with you. It's going to be an awesome convention with so many guys going and getting to play at the
Oh,
same time. That is just, a great opportunity. I'm glad that you're officially out with it and let it out there so now I can talk
oh,
about you going, because like I said,
yeah. I actually did. I did make the announcement after I bought my ticket on my channel as well. So
yeah, and
I've been
I knew some things had been
doing my
going
due
on,
diligence.
personally, and I didn't want to, just go, oh, he's going to be there, and then you come back and go, hey,
Oh, no,
so
no, no, no. See, I'm a person. If I'm going to purchase a ticket to an event, I'm going
I
unless like something drastic happens and comes up. I'm gonna be there.
I mean, for people who have asked me, they're like, why is this such a big event? I'm like, well, one, you got Team Shadow coming in and so many members from around the country. And this is already guys that, live airsoft. If they might not be out there on the camera, but they're still out there living the game. If you're on Discord, there are guys that if I started saying their names right now, you'd be like, oh, I've seen him. I've seen him over here. I've seen him on Airsoft GI's page. There are definitely some regulars, and it just looks like it's going. Oh man, the trailer. I mean, I could not believe that trailer when that thing dropped. And we have a clip of it earlier in the show before I started the interview with you, but it's oh man, 3 fractions. I mean, I'm just gonna say one faction. I'm not gonna get into it too much because we talked about it earlier. It's almost sold out, guys. So your chance to play like with me or Squirrely or other guys that are TSA members, it's getting pretty slim. It's getting pretty close. So otherwise,
yeah.
But if you want to play against us, feel free to buy those other tickets too. I'm more than happy to go both ways. We'll see how this plays.
Hey, you know what? Play with us or against us. You're still playing Airsoft with us, so
yeah, and you're supporting a great field, and you're supporting some great causes. They're going to have some great giveaways, like I talked about earlier, that are going to be going on.
Yep.
I can't believe you got Team Shadow giving out giveaways happening there with Shadow Dragon. You've got things that are given just straight from the Airsoft field, and the chance to play in Charleston. Airsoft already is just one of those like, oh, okay, this is going to be cool. This is the swamp. A lot of people don't know about this area, but it's got history all the way back to Revolutionary War. And go watch the movie The Patriot. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep. And I've it's not my first time going to South Carolina.
Yeah.
So
I've been there not to play Airsoft, but this will be my first time going to play Airsoft.
That's exactly it. I this will be my first Airsoft trip to South Carolina, but I'm not going back to the other place that I was before because I don't want to do that again.
Oh, we're not going to say the name of that place on here because I am not going to receive that hashtag and the hate that might come from that. So we're not going to say that. But all to the young men and women that might be there during this very hot summer, we salute you. So that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, with a laugh and a chuckle, I give you the salute of enjoy.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's about all I have right now. I don't want to keep you for too long for your evening. Again, thank you so much for sitting down with us. I mean, hey, you're my first live guest. We did go over to Cutter Airsoft, but we didn't really do like an interview with Cutter. You know how he is. He's our tech guy, man. That's the guy you go to when you want something changed up or prettified. He is amazing with that. But you were my first live guest. So again, I wanted to say thank you for having a cup of coffee with us.
Dude, much appreciated. Thank you for having me. It is a pleasure and an honor to be especially your first guest. I am honored. And trust me, I can tell you right now, there will be a monthly shout out coming out soon for somebody we may already be talking to.
Okay, I'll definitely have to check that out. All right, brother. Well, you have a great evening. Take care.
You too, man.
All right, we want to give a big shout out to Squirrely Nuts for stopping by and have some coffee with us. That was a great conversation. We would love to have him back again sometime. That was just awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in and checking out everything that's going on this week at the Haunted Mansion. We appreciate you guys joining us as always. If you could please hit that like and share button at the bottom, it is much appreciated. We're also on Discord at Shadow Ghost. Please try to come find us. We are also connected with Team Shadow Airsoft. I'll try to put some links in the description area of this. As more information about Shadowlands comes out, we will do our best to get it from the Haunted Mansion to you guys directly. And as I always like to say, get your ghost on.